game, and we'll take a look at our picks and bans to see which map we end up playing on for this very final matchup of the night. And of course, Bank and Clubhouse will be the two maps removed here, so we won't see a repeat of Clubhouse in the first half of the season. Let's not talk about it.
Typical EG. Don't want to deal with Villa at all. Just get that out right away. Sometimes the benefit of banning a obvious one first is you don't reveal or you don't tip your hand at all. But it is, you only get 2 bans in this current format. So Border is going to be the Cloud9 ban, and then Consulate for EG. So that is going to leave it down to Coastline and Oregon.
Well, we go to Coastline in this matchup here. Usually Oregon is the map that Giants go to die on, and there you go. Cloud9 will remove it, as Coastline will be the matchup with no BC for EG. I wonder how this is going to go.
Well, it's going to be interesting. So this is, again, much like last match, a map that Cloud9 has not played, just like Noble had not played Bank. EG have played this twice. They tied it against Mouse and then beat Rogon at 6-3. So in theory, this is EG's map, but we don't know how Cloud9 play it. So, we could get some surprises. Unfortunately, for Noble, there wasn't enough surprises in store on Bank for them to make it a win. But either way, this should be a good matchup. It would be interesting to see if we saw another tie between these two teams.
Yeah, that'll definitely be interesting. If they're not at the same level within the standings, then we would have a bit of a complicated position. But we'll take a look at what you guys think in the community vote, as so far, they've been right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is somewhat predictable to an extent, but at the same time, I feel like with what Cloud9 showed at DreamHack Montreal, they've shown a lot of potential against a lot of really tough teams. They seem to have found their groove, and it's going to be somewhat a matter of, are they going to be able to exploit any uncomfortableness on EG after the recent roster change? If they can, that might be a benefit Cloud9 can kind of leverage to be able to get some kind of control here, especially if we see EG swapping roles too much, something we've seen them do earlier in the season.
Yeah, but talking to Canadian at that point, it was all about not letting their opponents put them in a certain bracket where, say, okay, they're always going to play this sort of site. They're always going to play these operators, so we can expect those and use them for our bans, use them in the round-specific maps.
Yeah.
Not the case here. EG can kind of flex on whatever they want, very similar to how we see things with G2, for example. So that's exactly what you require in this. Always keep your opponents on their toes, whereas C9, they're a bit more focused on specific plays. Now, EG have their favorite operators, if you will, but still, it's a tight matchup. I wonder how it's going to go online.
What I also wonder about regarding EG is before they had BKN as the coach. BKN
was more of a manager than a coach, right?
Either way, but I mean, there was someone in that role to an extent. And then Necrox stepped in as coach, and now he's back on the team. So now they're again left without a coach or someone to be at least have that title, regardless of what the individual coaches at the time did on the team. So now it again is going to be back to just the team as it is. It makes me wonder, though, is that going to be a factor in the game today? Did that bring something to the table that mattered? If not, it might not make a difference, but they don't have it now. So, something to think about.
Now we'll get to see how things play out between the two. As again, you mentioned, I mean, Bacon is now coaching for SK Gaming, and
which we saw them win just a second ago.
They've been keeping up their plays so far, so good. So we'll get to see how EGC9 works out in here as we await our players to enter the lobby before we head into our map. Now, Coastline, post BC.
Yeah.
How is this going to play out with Buck being such an important operator on this?
I don't think Buck's an operator that only a few players could play, but yeah, I mean, he was a very good Buck in terms of the way he played it. King of nade kills, I would say, in a lot of maps, and that's going to be something that they're going to be missing, but that doesn't mean they have to play that. They could play differently. They could say, Buck wasn't essential to our strategies. Yeah, absolutely. If BC was good at it, we're going to keep doing it, but we saw them try having BC not play Buck a lot of times after that. So it's a case where they don't want to be pigeonholed like that. So I don't expect, unless they feel like they have someone else that's going to play a good Buck, that they're going to go with that same strategy, because it's not 100% necessary on this map.
Any particular operator bans? But for me, I look at this and I see Coastline, there's Necrox back on the roster. Is Glaz a potential ban to have in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Glaz is a pretty common one on this map, as is Ying and Lion. Now that this is EG, good chance of Pulse being banned as well, potentially, just because, well, this is a good map for him to play on as well, and you always want to try and cripple an important member of the other team if you can, and of course Canadian, a well-known important member of the team. You want to take that from his hands, because when it's allowed, he will generally play it to some extent, although he obviously doesn't want to be pigeonholed as well. But he also plays a very good Vigil, something that he will tend to do if Pulse is banned on him.
No.
So you only get one ban on defenders, so Can't get it both.
I'm interested in seeing if Fox will run the Monty again, because we saw the Monty Blackbeard combo working out very well in other maps, but this still Retro, very famous in playing on the Blackbeard, used to play with most of the EG squad.
True, they do kind of know him to how he's going to play to an extent.
And you see like shields plus DMR play. Each team has to worry about something different. There's the class that you have to worry on Necrox. Then you have to worry about the Blackbeard on Retro. You have to worry about the shield with the Monty, but you also have to worry about the Pulse being played by Canadian, the Zofia from NVK.
A lot to worry about.
Really, that's the thing. With players and teams that are so talented and have so much strategy and really personal skill, it's always difficult to find the correct bans, and a lot of times it just defaults back to, oh, just ban Lion and Ying, and then we'll ban Mira and either Maestro or...
I mean, we might just see default bans. We might just see common stuff just because, you know, there's a lot of flexibility going on both teams. Your target bans may not work out the way you want, and in doing so, you may leave an operator on the table that you don't want to. So, like, for example, Lion was still available in the last map, which is not usually the case.
Yeah, especially on Autobank.
Yeah, but they had certain other bans that they wanted to do, and so those went through.
Yeah.
You only get one ban of each, you know, one ban on attacker, one ban on defender, so you really have to make sure. And then banning order, of course, matters. We see sometimes teams ban the operator the other team would normally ban, and that kind of mixes things up a little bit. So there's some potential for that as well.
Yeah, I saw the post on the subreddit a few days ago. People asking, you know, what is a target ban? Well, target ban, if you know that there are players that place specific operators on a specific map or site, you just don't want to deal with them, that's when you use a quote-unquote target ban, because you're removing that operator from play that is very strong for the other team and that you might struggle with.
Yeah.
But we have some delays here on the C9 side, so we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back hopefully directly into game. So we'll be back in just a few.
Stylish on the outside, savage on the inside. Legion by Lenovo.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As we mentioned, this is EG versus C9, our final matchup of Palladium number 12 in North America Pro League Season 8. Lobby's ready, and our map is set for Coastline, so we're going to Ibiza.
That's right. Well, thankfully we were able to get the issues worked out, so we're going to get started here in just about, what, 3 seconds?
3 seconds.
So
count them. There you go.
There we go. All right, this should be an interesting match. Hopefully, neither of these two teams, due to the delay, lost their momentum or edge. Because, of course, you do usually as a team warm up before you go into the game.
Really?
It is a bit of a cool down period now for them. So.
All right. We'll say Lion. There you go. I think we're gonna head to the default bans.
I would think Glaz would be a good second one.
Yeah. Glaz or Ying. It's one of the two.
Especially against EG, I would take Glaz off the board on this map.
There you go. Makes sense. Both teams really kind of would have benefited from the Glaz, but you mentioned EG especially with Necrox. We mentioned it early on in the analysis.
Canadian is also happy to play it too.
There you go. Mira removed from play for default here. So I guess Valkyrie, Maestro, or Echo. Probably Echo here.
Yep, there it is.
Wow. How good are we at our job here?
You predicted the default ban. How did you do it? Pure math.
Hey, man. I mean, we said it. There's so many specific target bans you can go for, but then you just go for default, and default there's a reason why it's default, right?
Yep.
It works.
Speaking of defaults, interesting to see Hookah Lounge is going to be the first bomb site here for EG. Not always the most common primary. See if Canadian's going to 6th pick or not. Maybe not. Maybe just tease it. No. Yes. Looks like, there we go, 6th picking. So, that makes a little more sense. It was a little strange to see both Ying and Azoka be here, along with a Captao. So, bringing out some of the more specific operators, all in combination.
Alright, as you mentioned, Hookah will be in play. Goddess and Laxing bring the Capitao plus Ying. It'll be, so it's going to be interesting to see how Laxing runs the Ying on this. As mentioned, the Ying is a big ban for teams on a map like Coastline, and that's interesting. We finally see again a bulletproof camera.
I like the idea there to be able to see into Aqua.
There you go. That's the mute Geo running it.
Yeah, that makes some sense. Or I'm sorry, not in Aqua, but into Billiards and potentially Aqua, depending on where it was positioned.
No, it's right in Billiards.
Yeah, you can see it
down. So.
Oh, there we go. That will make it so it can see into Aqua better.
Yeah, he'll have a pretty darn good line of sight in there. Of course, with the Mira being removed from play, you wouldn't really be playing Mira on Hookah anyways, but you know, there's some places where you can set it up, especially on the stairs, but it's not a big operator that should be bringing here. But you at least bring the bulletproof camera. It gives you information, but also allows you to peek through the Ying, but no Retro with the first kill on Geo. Eliminates the player sitting down in...
Normally I would think that would be a peak, but Retro just playing very aggressive, already up
walks
in
in and just, wow.
I mean, I don't know if he'll get away with that again, but that certainly was a good way to start it for C9.
Interesting part is that C9 are running 0 hard breachers.
Yeah, well, you know, we've talked about it before on Coastline, especially with G2. You don't necessarily need a hard breacher. Most of the time if you bring Glaz, but Glaz being banned, but still, it is not a map that needs hard breachers nearly as much as many others.
Habana, though, would be great to have, especially on this site, because if you can get all the way on top on the roof, then you can open up holes to shut down anybody playing in the back of the pool bar. I
like that Evil Eye that was hidden beneath the couch there. Good on them spotting that out in Retro, taking it out. Well, it looks like we might see a fight here between Retro and maybe Maestro soon, but Necrox in the meantime takes down Mark. So that is going to be some good utility taken out. And Battle Eye also dropping someone else.
Ex-recruit XX420. All right, there you go. So Foxy still keeping up the drone play as Retro set up in the aquarium. He knows that be a potential peak, but since he still has an extra Ash charge, he can use that to destroy the Maestro camera, but it's the debate. Do I use this against the barbed wire or not? Because they see that there's an open hole, and they might be afraid of a player playing from below. They'll actually open up the entirety of the wall here to face against the smoke, and they'll be running in with their tac crossbow, baiting out the smoke, but at the cost of quite a bit of utility from the Capitao. Ying will throw in one of her balls of steel as Foxley gets one on Young. Goddess going in for the plant, but Canadian will connect. Goddess going down, and that's the diffuser being stopped. Canadian, another frag on Laxing, all up to Fox and Retro, as Fox has penetrated the defenses of EG, but he reveals himself in the hallway here for Hookah. Not able to do much as he misses the shot on MVK's Jaeger, and it's all up to Retro, the man that opened things up here for C9 is suddenly the last man alive.
Yeah, he's gonna need a 4K to win this.
To get the full ace, basically, at this point. He'll move in. No Viper strikes available, and the Maestro will give the information. The Jaeger will get shot down. Not enough time as Canadian peeks around the corner by the face, and that's Retro out of play.
Well, good attempt. I like that they made an attempt for the plant with so much time left, because in case it didn't work, they still had time to play with. Unfortunately for them, lost too many people in the process. You saw Fox also struggling with the CZ. That is one of the problems with it, is that recoil pretty much kicks the gun right into your face. Makes it very hard to see where your opponent is at that point to adjust your aim, despite the recoil not being, too bad itself. But that is the big problem now. The SMG-11 or SMG-12 is not so great. You end up with that exact problem. Laxing going to switch it up to a Maverick here. I like that attempt to try and bait out a lot of utility, and then have the Candelas thrown in from outside through the windows was definitely a different way to do it. So it was a good attempt there. But Young's actually going to sneak in a shield. He is very well known for playing lots of shields and doing it well. So not a huge surprise on that. Well, Laxing's going to not play the Maverick after all.
We'll see how the clash will run here for Young. I wonder if they're just going to use the reverse Monty, just stand in the main doorway for into stock.
Definitely could do so. I mean, there's some ways you can play it, but
it's either that or you play her by the kitchen side.
Yeah. And this is, of course, the more dominant bomb side at the moment for defense, although teams are sometimes winning Hookah, as EG just did last round, so it's not unusual to see it played, but it is more unusual to see this be the secondary instead of the primary bomb site, but we'll see how they do on it. It is going to be a little more predictable.
One thing, though, I love from EG is that they realize that C9 are not going to play with hard breachers. So what do? When reinforcing the wall coming into kitchen from the hallway, they reinforce the top part of it and not the usual second half, as you can see in front of NVK here, and they'll open up a rotation hole. There's only the Ash that provides soft destruction for C9, so they're going to have to be very careful about how they approach this, because they might find that the angles that they take for post-plant positions might not be as beneficial as they thought, not having the Habana to open up the top of the hallway. If they had it, it would have been much easier to peek in and have a long angle all the way through into stock.
And the other problem with not bringing the soft breachers as well is the top-down attacks. Like the vertical destruction, yes, they may have someone running some breach charges, but it's not going to be Mark. So we'll see if anyone's even able to do that. I mean, that offers so constrained ability to push, because you have to take almost all of your fights horizontal at that point, which is definitely not an ideal situation when there's some good long angles that can be fought to defender advantage by Maestro.
I'm kind of surprised that with how prevalent Zofia is, we don't see her in this match.
I'm sure we will win side switch.
Oh yes, that's 100% for sure. But for now, Necros is just watching out. I wonder where the clash is. Young is just going to be staying and watching the bar. Okay.
Well, he does see a drone. At least he has some idea. There could be pressure there sometime soon. Obviously could block the door as well. But his job is to just provide intel and also kind of hold this room as Canadian comes to back him up a little bit. But his job is to hold Sunrise so that they cannot pressure Kitchen from the other side. Of course, they've got to worry about the windows, which Laxing is opening. Could chuck some Candelas in through there if they clear all the ADSs. Fox a bit far off, though. He has probably not used any of his phone calls just yet, but may do so if they're trying to pitch some of those roamers. There, I believe we hear the phones now. Yep. NVK controlling lobby in the meantime as well.
Get the down on Canadian, but he should get picked up here by the Clash, who can survive through it.
Oh, the fire, though.
Burning Canadian to a crisp So MVK will get a refrag. Retro going down. That's your only soft destruction.
Oh,
Down.
no!
Mark coming in from the back trying to fight the Clash, but he just turns around. Young is somehow still alive. Laxing will have to deal with him with the Candelas. Walks in, but the shield is right in front, and finally they're able to take him out. 40 seconds left on the clock, though. And there's still NVK alive.
Only one Candela as well, and that's the last one going off right now.
And they were not set up to go for it. I don't know if that was just to slow things down, but now they'll check and see that the wall is reinforced in a way that does not aid C9 whatsoever. Maestro here peeking around as Foxe will get the information. Goes for the quick peek as finally destroys the default cam.
Yeah, that was definitely hindering his ability to try and peek this Maestro here. Not to mention, as I was talking about before, the kick on that gun can make it hard to find your shot if he peeks at just the wrong time. But he manages to get the down and the kill.
So little time left on the clock. 2 seconds in as Fox and Mark just come into the site and take down Necrox and Geo. C9 with 2 seconds left just walk in and EG peek against them and lose the gunfights.
Well, I gotta get credit, Cloud9. No hard breachers, no real soft destructors outside of the 2 remote breaches you get, and still took so much map control and managed to win the horizontal fights. I mean, some of that was due to the fact that they were able to get Canadian downed, because Clash was just not able to help from Young, and then Young himself getting pushed away, and then a lot of credit to Fox winning that fight against the Maestro as well. That was definitely probably one of the more difficult fights of the ones they took. Just left 2 players left alive in a tough situation. So a great execute by C9, despite not bringing the usual utility.
This is what I like. The castle being brought in. They realized that they couldn't slow them enough, and they know that there's not enough hard destruction being brought in by C9. So what does EG do? Like, okay, we're going to bring a castle barricade, because now if you want to take them down, it's going to take you so long that those extra 2 seconds that you had in the previous round, you're not going to have them here.
Yeah, and that's a good call to take advantage of what you notice about the other team. Something Canadian's well known for doing. Very heavy on counter-stratting what he sees from other teams, making those observations and making them work. We'll see, though. Retro can take down 2 of those castle barricades fairly easily if need be. Which will, I mean, a nice hiding spot there in the bushes. But I gotta imagine he only probably needs to take down 1. You probably don't need to take down 2 unless you need to approach from multiple angles that happen to have both castle barricades. We'll see if Geo plays on the roam, though, because there was very little roam game last round as well, and that allowed C9 to take a lot of map control uncontested outside of Sunrise, and I think that was a big factor as well, because it gave them the flexibility, because you saw, for example, the flank coming around from behind from Mark to help out against Young, and then, of course, Fox as well putting pressure onto the Maestro.
Mark continuing in with the drone into Hookah. Not going to find anybody in there. Just checking the hallway. Just going into pool instead of heading the other way into the penthouse. So Fox still on the rooftop. Drops in to play potentially into the aquarium. He's scouting in on the other side of the map as well. Sees it's clear, and then just moves on in.
Oh, there goes Laxing, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's unfortunately for Laxing even more after the first 30 seconds of the round. So he cannot rejoin, and we cannot rehost for this. Retro can't get the pick on Canadian. This downs 1 more, and that's now Fox eliminated from play. No more Dokkaebi, no calls at all. At least the soft destruction still available here with Retro. Yeah,
this is not looking good so far for them, but on the positive side, they still have 1:45 left to play with, but now they've got to fight against 5 full-strength defenders who can just turtle up at this point. They really don't need to put a lot of pressure on them, as long as they can make sure the flanks don't happen. But NVK taking down 1 more, just down to 2v5.
And NVK shutting things down with the Maestro, just sprays into the main doorway and nabs the kill in the bar. Mark now, which is Sunrise Bar, gets the side pick, but Geo's able to finish him off. Diffuser set on the floor, and they're just watching it by the Cool 5 stairs and realizing there's only 1 more player alive. You can go safely for the pick there on the IQ, and NVK for the last one on Retro. We'll have the rehost to try and get Laxing back into our lobby.
Cloud9 are just not having a good time with their computers these days, seems. So
they are in the gaming house, so I'm kind of surprised. But
yeah, maybe it's too much power for one house. Either way, though, it is definitely going to be a rehost, and hopefully Won't take too long to do so, as very few rounds had happened. It was only 3 so far, but nothing you can do. We're not, obviously, unless the admins call otherwise, probably not going to be replaying that round.
No,
so,
that was after the 30 seconds.
Yeah.
It makes no sense for
I
regulation.
just don't want to make the call.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't make any sense. But that is unfortunate for Cloud9. So now they're going to be in a tough spot. But they've only lost 2 rounds. They're still 1 point behind. That's it.
The question is, you're on defense. This is EG especially. If they're able to get 3 rounds on the defense, when they are a team that, first and foremost, will always say that attacking side and Coastline is very strong and that you should be looking for.
I feel like that's
one.
shifting. I feel like it's shifting towards a
You
lot more
like
defensive wins. I just trend-wise, we saw. With the first half of the season, absolutely saw a lot of attacker wins, very attacker dominated. But I feel like lately, a lot of the defenses have shifted in some way, and it's not necessarily the new ops. It's not like Clash or anything like that. Maybe some of it's the recoil changes. I can't quite pinpoint what it is, but a lot of defenders are tending to win now, and I think it's some of the way they're identifying how to play outside of Penthouse better, and playing hookah I think is a big part of it as well. That hookah defenses are starting to be successful. Whereas hookah wasn't as big of a deal before. So now that gives you another bomb site. Now, we've talked a lot about Kitchen. We're like, oh, Kitchen is the best defensive site. But because of the fact that hookah's developed to an extent, that has given another bomb site that they can use. And Bar has also grown as somewhat of a successful defensive site. So because everything was put on Penthouse before, that made it very attacker site. Because that's shifting towards other bomb sites now, I think that's part of what's caused that shift towards more defender wins than we used to see.
It's always good to pick your brains. Every now and then.
What little's left. But either way.
That said it.
Will be interesting to see, though. Now, we could see some more momentum shift as well. Going into this, once we have a little break like this where they get a chance to rethink what happened. In this case, Cloud9 don't have to rethink too much about it because they did lose a player early on that due to the connection issue. That means, like, oh, well, maybe we would have won with him. Probably not going to rethink the round too much. But EG get a chance to kind of think about what they've seen from C9 so far in terms of if they go to defend that bomb site on a future round, or when it comes to defending future sites. They're again seeing no soft breachers for the most part, no hard breachers. They can take advantage of that and start to think, Canadian especially, to go like, well, what can we do to fully exploit that as much as possible here? Obviously, Penthouse becomes a little more playable because if they're not playing hard breachers, they can't open Theater Wall on the backside by the stairs, and they can't open VIP Wall into the Penthouse itself. That starts to give you a lot more flexibility. 2 choke points. They have to come in through Hall of Fame door or the Hall door for Theater. That's very difficult to deal with as an attacker.
And it's surprising, especially when we all know that Goddess is a lot of times a designated thermite for C9. A very successful one at that.
It just surprises me they've dropped hard breachers altogether. I know you don't need hard breachers on this, but when you're playing against a team like EG that will read into that,
at least have a hub on them.
It makes more sense to have that as a backup, to open up angles. I think at the moment, obviously the Bearing 9 and not the greatest of spots doesn't help that, but either way, yeah, just the lack of hard breachers is not helping C9 at the moment. We'll see, though.
Still waiting for our lobby here to get set up.
We're getting close, though.
Yeah.
So
we're getting in for a couple players, and we'll be good to go. Again, it's a 2-1 scoreline in the lead here, EG.
Yep.
It's a pretty darn good bit of play on their defense.
I feel like that was a very convincing round. Not the last one, but the one before that, though, from C9. So it's interesting that Kitchen was such a struggle the first time around. Obviously they won it the second time. Some of that credit to the losing the player, but also just it seemed like EG played it much smarter that time. We're able to win more of those gunfights as well.
Changing around to the castle definitely
Absolutely,
helps quite a bit. And then getting the early picks. They played to the top floor. I have to commend, though, Retro.
Yeah, he didn't get a kill right at the beginning of the round that time.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them in the round where they're trying to push into pool and hookah. So there's a few things to change here and there. Maybe this is the time for C9 to try to get back into it.
It's certainly the time for us to get back into it.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. Let's head.
Thank you. All right, Coastline.
Let's head back into the game. Coastline with EG leading right now 2-1.
And I think we're just making sure that it's going to work. There we go. All right, they are going to go bar now, having won hookah and kitchen. They could go back to hookah, but no, they want to go with bar, which is probably smart to change things up a little bit. Canadian going to be bringing out the Vigil I mentioned before. He likes Vigil as well as his very well-known pulse play. Young going to sneak in. It was going to be Legion, but no, Castle. Fox just 6-picking to what he's been playing every round anyways. But he is going to put some fear into Canadian's Vigil by making him think he has that Jackal.
Yep.
So, interesting there.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
We'll see how EG defend this one. This time they'll go for the bars. First they played Kitchen, they won that. They played up in Hookah, and they won that. Mentioned Penthouse, not been played so far. We'll see, maybe that'll be the site for later on. As again, you mentioned it. Wow, you do know quite a bit.
I do mention a few things here and there.
Yeah, it's like it's your job. I don't know. But it's kind of fallen a bit off of the top plays, and Canadian is actually bringing camera instead of the impacts. Now, big thing about the camera is that you can't move the angle, and you're basically just stuck with whatever it shows. So you gotta be really careful before you set it, but the big advantage is that you can put it in soft walls, hard walls, and indestructible walls.
Yeah, and it's definitely the case where some people use it in place of black windows, things like that, or black mirrors or whatever. And take advantage of that. They'll also be placed a lot of times on long angles, where you offer some kind of destructibility to see a nice long angle. And you saw the Maestro actually being played for its rotatability on that door frame. So it's like the kind of contrast of where you would place this. Like obviously a bulletproof camera would make 0 sense there, but an Evil Eye makes sense. So we use that. And there is again the one soft destructor they have, taking out one castle barricade, as to be expected. But this is not the bomb site. They're just going in from behind into kitchen as drones get shot up. Mark just holding an angle.
It is a big part of the play, though. You control the rotations, and you basically eliminate half of the players.
Yeah, you stop them rotating from lobby, but they still have the ability to play courtyard to rotate into the hallway.
And well, the courtyard rotation is a very difficult one to be successful in, as the castle will go down to Retro here with the opener on the Ash. The Eager of NVK will fall back for just a bit. No, he just moves on in. He tries to get the kill, and he indeed will be successful. Canadian and NVK with a kill each. Suddenly turn things around here as Mark and Retro will fall down. The 3 speeds that are out of play, but there's still Fox available. And NVK holding the Cool Vibe stairs, making sure the rotations are always kept in check. Goddess, though, with one on Canadian. Will take down the Vigil finally and tie it at 3-3. But the smoke is still alive, and this push with the Capitao can still be very successful for C9.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you're going to see the smoke of Necrox trying to counter the smoke from Capitao. Now, the advantage does go over to Necrox because he has 2 smokes, whereas Capitao only has 1. But Fox, also bringing 2 smokes, brings the grand total to 4, having just 1 more. The Necrox gives them some ability to try and counter those plays, assuming it's placed right. Unfortunately, Evil Eye looking the wrong direction there, but Geo is still alive on Maestro, still could rotate it, but if he dies, no rotation's going to happen from then on.
He's looking through the hole on the top as he rotates from behind. He's going to play right behind the bomb.
Oh, there's a rotate.
Yeah, he's unable to find him, and this is the thing. Castle Barricade, where you're only bringing the Ashes, your only soft destructor, you don't have the option of the IQ with grenades anymore. You gotta worry about that.
With a flank from NBK here.
Can get the pick, and there we go. The headshot on Laxing, 3v2. Advantage for Evil Geniuses is now all they need to do is hold down the Maestro in the back. First attack crossbow will get thrown in. That'll burn Geo down as Necrox gets eliminated by Fox. All up to NVK on the Ash to clutch things out. Fox no more logic bombs to use as he'll throw in his second smoke. Goes in for the fight against the Jaeger. He'll lose that one out. 9 bullets left in the magazine. As Goddess does not go for the plant just yet. She knows it's a 1v1 and can win it. No, it's NVK. Prone on the ground that'll clutch the round with a 3K. Beautiful plays here from NVK of EG. And just Goddess unable to anticipate the position of the Jaeger to just slap down the floor.
It was unfortunate for Fox. The smoke grenade he threw down was just too little too late, as NVK was just ready to peek that. So very close to working, but nonetheless, unfortunately, NVK was too on top of it. So far, though, they have shown that trying to hide behind that bar with Capitao in play, not so much a great idea. But nonetheless, it was good use. They had the Evil Eye, or the Evil Eyes, as well as the bulletproof cameras, both watching into bar with the ability to rotate the one, as you saw them do, to face into kitchen, which was working out well for the smoke cover. They did go to plant behind the Evil Eye, which was not going to be able to rotate at that point, which was a good play, but at the same time, they were still able to be countered on Fox's flank. So the loss of coverage ultimately not paying off. A lot of 6 picks going on here.
which is
Attackers need to
it
locate
doesn't
and
always
defuse
happen.
as many bombs as they can.
Not everybody uses it. I mean, some people, I've read it here and there. It's like, why doesn't everybody use the 6-pick? Well, it's an option. It's not.
Sometimes it's a distraction,
Yeah.
depending on what you're trying to accomplish.
You don't always need to use it, and it really just depends on what you have in mind, what kind of trickery as well.
Well, you can't just skip revealing your operators to not use it. You know,
no, we
so you
used
might
to
as well.
not have.
Yeah.
Remember?
Of course, they
remember.
they came hand in hand. But either way, yeah. So that's my point though. Is you might as well use it
Yeah.
if you can, because your operators are being revealed. At least as an attacker, I feel like that's where you get more advantage. So you might as well take advantage of it to make them think you have or don't have something that they may have to adjust their defenses accordingly to.
It's all about the mind games, man.
That's right. Well, there's another bulletproof camera being used this time from the mute, as Canadian is not going to be on vigil. So they definitely like having that extra passive intel. That's going to be helpful. We've seen a lot of, I'd say a lot more often these days, pings coming out for clutch moments from Evil Eyes and bulletproof cameras, much more than we used to when those things didn't exist.
Yeah, mathematically speaking, yes.
Makes
Completely
sense.
agree.
When there's 3 times as many things that can spot.
Well, after they got introduced, we started seeing people actually using them. Like, oh,
You can't say that about
Mind-blowing.
you can't say that about everything in this game, to be fair. But yeah, that's very true. Either way, though, they are starting to get some idea where the defenders are, but they're not really taking a ton of that map control yet. A little bit of redundant droning going on as they're kind of overlapping here. They want to take the blue bar side a little bit to be able to have some extra pressure here, but they have to fight all the way up to Hookah. Can Retro open things up with any kills up top?
it's been the entry fragger and a successful one for C9. Unfortunately, the follow-ups from the rest of the team have been a bit absent, and I can only imagine how disheartening it must be right now for C9 after that previous round where they had the advantage, then just kind of squandered it there at the end.
Mark's taking quite a bit of damage now. It's good that he was using his drone instead of face checking, but losing the drone means now he's going to have to force Laxing to entry for him, be his backup.
Of course, the F2 great at that, but Necrox, controlled spray, is the king of the SNG 11. Gets the first kill on the Dokkaebi, and still a ton of damage done to Mark, so no calls available.
Attackers have
EG
located a
can
bomb.
roam freely.
Yep. Necrox, ever the smoke player, has been for a very long time. It's good to see him back on that. A lot of droning still happening here that shows they're getting kind of stalled out, but Retro with the flank here, if he can catch NVK off guard, that could help quite a bit in terms of getting a lot of the top floor map control. Fortunately, NVK just not on top of it. Retro is, but he's got a lot of damage on him. Same with Mark. They almost need to reset each other.
There you go. Again, the same Maestro camera being set up, and oof, trying to burn up the ADSs here with the Zofia. Laxing in the meantime will connect on Canadian. He'll take down the Valkyrie before she can use her C4. Necrox watching the cool vibe stairs as he moves in against the Ash, but Retro just gets the 3K. Doesn't even care about the positioning of his opponents. Now from the back, it's Geo, but Laxing gets the last frag, holding down the hallway, and
That
that's C9 to get one more.
Nearly a 4K for Retro.
Mhm.
Very well played by him. And while it still goes over for the round half in favor of EG, it's still only 1 point difference. Definitely could be a comeback here from C9. We often see a lot of times sides will switch and then it goes back to the other team winning, and then it ends up in a 3-3 scoreline. So definitely possible here. But they are going to actually go to Penthouse, something that EG did not want to do whatsoever. So we'll
I
see
wonder
what
if
they-
there'll be a bulletproof camera for this again.
Possibly from Laxing, yeah. That might help. I mean, because the last thing you want them to do is smoke plant. And that's really going to be counter. But they have Fox on Pulse, so they might not need it.
No, it's going to switch around.
Oh.
Valkyrie.
Not young on Blackbeard.
Oh boy.
Not like this.
Yeah, that brings back some memories, doesn't it?
Some PTSD memories. He is definitely a beast on many shields, but definitely that one. Mark actually going to be, though, playing that Clash on defense. Which will be interesting to see if he's able to be as effective, or more effective, rather, than EG was. The scoreline now. Keep in mind we had a rehost, so the scoreline's not going to reflect the entirety of the match, just what we've done since the rehost, which was on round number 4. So we have just had, I guess, 2 rounds of stats there.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind.
So we'll see how the Zofia gets played now by Geo, as usually that role is reserved to MVK, who this time will be on the IQ. Now 3-2, the advantage in the side of the attacking side of EG. Laxing trying to set up his final, second last black guy. There we go. Throw it up and get the board up. Oh, but make sure you don't get shot by your own teammates. Necrox moving in here on the Capitao. Capitao has seen such a huge resurgence. Himself and Jackal, both operators that have not really been played to their full potential in the past, but within this half of the season, definitely have been coming into their own.
Yeah, it's good to see a lot of shakeups. I mean, the meta for this game is definitely getting more and more towards the point where the lineups are not as predictable anymore. I mean, they are per team somewhat, but definitely not across the full meta. Which is why, you know, we show those stats at the beginning about pick rates, but I feel like those are going to start to diverge even more as new operators introduce that help. Maybe with some redundancy on some of those, hopefully.
Yeah.
Bomb located by attackers.
I mean, hopefully we never go back to the olden Lion days, but yeah, I'm hopeful. So, Grenade's going to get lobbed in here to take down the barbed wire. And Canadian from above, I'm not sure if they reinforced the entirety of the bathroom here. No, it's really open. So he can have a look down and maybe connect with any of the rotations coming in from the circle.
Double roam down the stairs there, covering for each other to an extent while one works cams.
It's surprising, actually, that there's nobody in VIP.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of teams now are just kind of giving up on VIP and using it for retakes later instead, once there's usually less attack operators to watch that flank. But Young is definitely going to be a beast here. Now, normally, you know, originally back in the day, we'd see Young on the window, the double windows, but it's been so hard to keep yourself alive in terms of runouts and things like that, especially with Black Eyes in play here, that it is a risky thing to do now. Instead, Geo was on that roll for a moment. Ooh, too late. Too late, Mark. Almost saved him.
That's got us down on the floor. Of course, the comeback of the SR-25, and in my mind, the SR-25 is just still as good as it ever was. Even after the nerf. The big difference is that now you use it when you want to hold angles more so than just get a bit more aggressive on the Blackbeard. Canadian trying to get the pick on the Jaeger, and there we'll go. He'll be successful. Retro removed from play, but there's still one down alive, not for long. Canadian catching Laxing off guard. Rotation from Foxay on the pulse. But Mark taking the shield off for just a second. So he'll get down and take it down by Canadian as well with a 3K. Foxay last man alive with a red dot and the long barrel. Hasn't gotten the memo just yet, but makes a lot of noise here, trying to come in from the outside. Maybe there's somebody repelling, but they know where he's at, and Canadian looking for the 4K. There you go.
Well, you asked earlier, who's going to play Buck now that BC is not here? And Canadian answers with a 4K.
Yeah.
Now we know. Good round by EG. That puts them further into the lead here, and much more difficult for a comeback from Cloud9, unfortunately for them. So, not a great position to be in. They are going to go down to Kitchen. Their penthouse defense did not work out. They had a lot of people off site, which was, I mean, overall not a bad idea, as they were pressuring site pretty heavy, and you didn't want to lose too many people. You wanted to be able to flank on that. But a lot of those flanks got read, especially by Canadian. He was able to get those kills. Especially on, I think it was Retro trying to rotate up those stairs. Unfortunately, did not work out. But there was some good mind games going on there. Just in the end of the day, Canadian won out. So, we'll see. They're going to try a somewhat similar lineup. A bit of variation here.
Interesting part is that
Kitchen.
Mark couldn't really do much with the clash there.
Yeah, well, I mean, he almost intercepted the bullets. But too little, too late.
Yeah.
Defenders, protect your bombs.
Either way, though, Kitchen going to be the secondary for the Cloud9 players. And, Retro there with the 4, Canadian with 5, trying to one-up him.
Oh, literally. Oh, back in Kitchen. We'll see how C9 sets this one up. As of course, remind you that once that scoreboard is flashed, that does not represent the entirety of the match. It's only the past couple rounds. So
Yeah.
did have.
First 3 rounds are not in there at all.
Yeah.
So, similar attack lineup, though, coming out from the EG boys here. I mean, it was pretty successful last time.
Yeah, and the Capitao works up pretty well. The IQ to destroy any equipment that's being set here or there. In this case, there's really not much that has been brought to the table by C9.
Yeah, not a whole lot gadget-wise, other than maybe the Grismont mines and some ADSs to see. Oh, actually, Castle has a bulletproof camera, so there is going to be that as well, which he has already placed. A lot of bulletproof cameras being played by both teams. It's interesting to see how much is being used by both these teams, because usually it's one team that'll bring it, but not the other.
There you go. You see Young already peeking up here on the Blackbeard. Be able to drop in if need be. The wall has not been reinforced here, but very smartly there's already Bucket Canadian droning in, and the Blackbeard will drone in as well. See the clash downstairs in the bathroom. Mark trying to get some information where his opponents are. He peeks out, takes down the drone.
He's doing a good job at least controlling the flow of the attacking the bomb site. I mean, yeah, they can come in from delivery, but last thing is you want to flank into bathroom, because controlling bathroom is definitely helpful for repelling a delivery push, which they may consider, but it doesn't look like they're going for so far.
There we go, Young with the first one yet again. Retro being shot down, the castle eliminated as he was still playing in the inside here. The penthouse, NVK from the back taking down Foxay, holding the secondary angle as Fox decided to move into the south hallway instead of going down, fearing an angle on him from the Lamborghini doorway.
Well, NVK here with 2 breach charges can start to open up the floor if Canadian going to, but Young a bit on low on health.
No, the bait.
Mark's still surviving.
The potential bait here. Blacksing just stay put for a second.
Oh, look. Oh.
Is there still in VIP?
Attackers have
So
located
they
a
have
bomb.
not moved in just yet.
Nope, they're going to go the other way, unfortunately, for Laxing.
Is there a claymore that's been set by MVK?
Doesn't look like it.
No, there we go. Just Mark is going to move in.
Yeah.
Laxing reveals himself and just backs off, and C9 will fall back. The MVK checking the cameras here. I guess he did position a drone somewhere. Geo from above, though, getting the kill on Goddess.
Well, there goes
5v2.
smoke. Yeah, this is not a good situation to be in because, yeah, you have Mark on the shield, but he's not going to be very effective in the fragging, so it's all about Laxing coming to help, but too little, too late, 1v5.
Yep, and Young is just ready for him. He'll land another kill with the SR-25, the Blackbeard. Saving the day here is EG, 1 round away from the win.
Definitely looking like the way things are going could be one final round here. I do expect a good chance Cloud9 can come back 1 round, but with the way EG are playing on attack, I feel like that's the limit, unfortunately, for Cloud9. So far, though, good coordination. A lot of clear happening from Evil Geniuses. They were spending a lot of time controlling that top floor, looking for angles, giving Canadian a chance to open up a lot of the floor to find different angles, which worked to kill the smoke. So definitely playing that well. And unfortunately, Mark's shield play did not end up benefiting the team the way he was trying to make it. But speaking of shields, Canadian selecting Monty. Will he stick it? Young probably going to stick with his choice of Blackbeard, but we'll see. 17 seconds left on 6th pick, and no one's switching off just yet. It's there we go, Mark and Canadian. The 2 shields that are similar going to switch off.
There we go, the Buck. And Mark should be back on the Maestro. Yep, there we go.
Now this is going to be the first time on bar. Now, so far they have not won any of the defensive sites, so they could repeat any of them, but instead they're choosing to rotate 1 more time. And they're going to go down to bar, try their luck there, and hope that it's going to work a little bit better, because if not, well, that's your last chance at this point.
Surprised that it's EG that pulled out the Blackbeard card, not C9 when they were on the attack.
Yeah, I mean, both Young and Retro, though, are very good Blackbeards, so I feel like we see the Retro Blackbeard, especially on Clubhouse, maybe more so than other maps. Well, see if they can pull this off. Laxing on Pulse should be interesting here. Maybe able to help propel some of that top-down play, because Canadian's definitely going to be doing that again.
5 seconds remaining.
See, of course, Laxing on the Pulse.
A little
so
antsy.
setting him up will be oh, is he going to go for a peek?
He sure is. I mean, it's the right spot, but his choice of timing not working out.
Yeah, I'll have to fall back as EG move in, crawl really into the front door. Necroc's checking, won't find anybody. Already the Blackbeard by the front door. He'll knock and he'll take down the first default camp. So Necrox now is just setting up the Claymore. We see Canadian trying to get some info to use those frag grenades early on. If he spots somebody on the cool vibe stairs, you know where those grenades are going.
Yep, definitely the case. So far, though, just a lot of droning coming out at the moment to try and figure out where everyone's at. But Canadian could go for the entry frag.
Oh!
Unfortunately, Retro stops him dead in his tracks. Dude, was that an impact nade for effect there?
No, that was a grenade. He was cooking a grenade.
Oh, that's right.
Throw
It
it
fell,
in, and it kind of just blew up.
No martyrdom for you today.
Arrest and Pepperoni. It's Geometrics now to set up his Claymore in the back. Young taking down the Legion Gumine set down by Fox right at the entrance of the bar. This Young just holding the angle. That's why you bring the SR-25. Got a lot more reliable damage and recoil patterns to play with. Fox, in the meantime, another one on Necron's. Defense on bar, working out perfectly here for C9. Now the bolts are out of play, and NVK cannot find the shot. Laxing in the meantime on Geo. EG getting picked apart.
This is a perfect game for them so far. Not even damage, as I say that, a little bit of damage and a kill.
2 in a row here. Young and NVK with a kill each. And can they get it? Yes, they can. It turns to 2v2. Suddenly, they have a huge advantage here, EG. NVK, beautiful pick here on the pulse. Laxing just moving in, not checking much. There's still a lot of time to use the breach charges. And what?
Wow.
What?
That's an
God is going down. What? How does that even happen?
On what is probably the last round now, that's got to feel especially bad.
Oh my. Now it turns into a 5v2. From a 5v2 down to a 2v1 advantage for EG.
Mark,
with a breach charge kill.
Take a breath, Mark. 30 seconds left.
The shark has to bite here, Devin.
Yeah, he's going to...
Located by attackers.
This is a tough situation to be in because he's going to try and hold angles, but he doesn't know where they're approaching from, and they've still got drones left. NVK could, he doesn't have to risk face checking it.
Just go and plant at this point, right?
Unfortunately, yeah, Young's the one with the diffuser, so NVK's going to have to watch him. Oh,
no. Not enough. He does not have enough of a charge to kill the Blackbeard, and there we go. He'll stay alive and take it down. That's the Evil Eye out of play. Mark trying to switch around to the second one, trying to take down the Blackbeard. He turns with the shield and gets the kill on it. Low on health, both players here. Mark with the potential 80 rounds in the magazine of the Elda. And all he needs is just 2 shots to connect. NVK moving around on the IQ, trying to find the kill.
The ring
from
around
the
road.
side. Oh my God, what is going on here? Mark moving in. NVK does not hit. They move right next to one another. Mark, what do you do? What? Opens up the hatch and Mark drops on down. There's not much time left, as unfortunately that'll be GG as the Blackbeard comes in and Young finishes things off with the Deagle. A very awkward round, but my, EG recover. And this is why it's one of the best teams in the world. They're never out until it says defeat at the end of the round.
Certainly a tough situation and a very bitter loss when you had the 5v2 advantage and still lose it out. Even with 2 Evil Eyes to zap him, still not enough to finish the job. That is a very unfortunate situation for them. So, technology issues aside, not a great night for C9.
This was, I mean, we've had some pretty good games today, but this is, especially with that final round, a very entertaining game.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely well played. I think Cloud9 had a lot of potential there, but just the comebacks from EG seem to be able to crush them every time. Much like we were talking about with Obey, they could be close, but in the end of the day, the other team's winning. Nonetheless, I mean, to be fair, Cloud9 had not played that map before in this in this tournament so far. So, much like the situation with Noble versus SK, it's a risk taking a team to a map that they've played and won on that you have not, and it's backfired on both the teams so far. So maybe you have to be a little more careful, I guess. Either way, though, a good game by C9, but definitely 4 points too short.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but they do still retain their spot. They're still safe from the auto relegation and relegations in general.
Yeah,
So
they're not Noble or Obey. That's the important thing for Cloud9 right now. I can't believe a team that started out getting 6-0'd 3 times is still out of the auto relegation spot. So fantastic comeback from them, at least in terms of overall points.
There's always a way, that's for sure. And, well, it means that our top 3 teams are still at the top.
Who would have thought that things have started to kind of somewhat gel? There's still 2 weeks, as you mentioned before, though, for things to shake up a little. But as we get down to that last week, of course, there will be less to move around unless we've got a very contentious top 4.
Yeah, the big surprising part is, of course, Rogue not being in those top 3 or top 2 teams. But
yeah,
there's competition. Teams are getting better and better.
I mean, Rogue's not out of the running yet, right?
Yeah.
So
in the next couple of weeks.
I think they have some matches that do favor them a little bit coming up, so entirely possible.
All right, well, we have an interview ready, so let's head out. Ric Flair himself, it's Canadian joining us. Good evening,
So,
Canadian.
guys,
How are you?
pretty good, pretty good. Not too shabby.
You guys did pretty darn well, to say the least. Got a couple questions for you here on Coastline. Playing against Clash, in general and specifically on Coastline, how do you play around her? Is it really all about having the Capitao on the squad, or how is it like?
I think the main thing is just communication. Like you can spot where Clash is pretty early on. Like as long as your droning is pretty good, like she's not gonna get up in your face fast, right? Very slow operator. So like if you see where she's approaching from well in advance, like just make sure to communicate it. Have Cap or Sophia rotate, and just like as long as you have two people like working against her, you're most likely like gonna be all right. Especially if you have a Sophia, use Sophia stun, and then Clash is a free kill. But like even if you just have two people like they're aiming at her, like the guy that's behind her can't do much. So just good communication.
Yeah, never
That's
try
the
and
main point.
1v1 the operator that's designed to pull you off.
Definitely
and
not.
Yeah. In round 2, when you guys were on defense down in Kitchen, now you had lost the very first one, but then the big change was switching around to the castle. How was it adapting around, seeing that C9 are not really running soft breachers and hard breachers in general?
Yeah, so we saw the lineup they were running. They're running heavy smokes. They were running a Ying as well, and then no hard breach. We noticed that, and no soft breach as well. Like they weren't playing any top down play. They were just trying to hit the site with smokes and Ying, and we noticed that. And we had previously been running a Clash like the first kitchen round we were in the Clash, and then they had the Ying. Young said like they're running the Ying. They're not playing top down. Like there's no reason for me to go to the Clash. And we're like, yeah, they have low soft breach as well. We can run the castle along with the Meister and really punish them. So we ran that. We played heavier on site because we didn't need to worry about top down. So yeah, just good communication overall from the team, deciding on what we needed to adapt and change to.
That last round, though, let's just have a second for that. Advantage fully in the hands of C9. You got taken down first one outside of Hookah, and then everybody falls. There's 2 left with the IQ low on health. How do you even recover from such a round? What happened when it came to the communication between the players?
We were just basically like we had the flank drone set up still, so like we had the map control we needed. The problem was that we didn't have the numbers, and we just kind of held the flanks, and like we just kept getting picks because people were moving around in sight for Young to kill, and then Nate got people up top because they were still playing blue stairs and still pushing pool. I think if they just like rotated back to site, they would have been able to win the round easily. I think they should have just like if they just gave Nate upper. It would have been all right, but yeah, Young got a pick on site because of some movement, and then they didn't leave upper, so Nate could get the kills since they were separated.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well for you guys. So you end up getting the victory over C9, and it's pretty tough here at the top of NA. So there's still potential for upset within the next couple of weeks. But anything you'd like to say before we finish off?
Nothing too much. Just glad we're performing to our potential. Last week I had a rough week, but other than that, I think we've had some really good performances with the new lineup. Just gonna keep working hard and preparing. Yeah, the end of the season's a bit crazy here in NA, so just gotta focus up, take it one match at a time, and I don't know. Fully confident we can close the season out. We're definitely talented enough.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Canadian. Congratulations again, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. See you then.